What's going on, you guys? Jay here and welcome back to the channel. So the crypto space seems to be absolutely buzzing in regards to the recent moves that Do Kwon has made. So we'll be going over all of this. We'll take a deeper dive into it. We'll give you an analysis and we'll show you the transaction. We'll go through it and then we'll take a look at where those coins currently reside. We'll also look at why this move could have been made and we'll put it all into a timeline that will help you better understand the situation that's just unfolded. So if we go over to this news article, we can see that Terra's founder Do Kwon is not sitting idle and he's just moved $64 million worth of Bitcoin. So this is a substantial movement when it comes to TFL and how much Bitcoin they actually have. What remains in the LFG reserve is around 313 Bitcoin. And what this tells us is there's actually a lot more outside of those LFG reserves. And when the channel was first birthed, I became overly obsessed with the subject and exactly what happened during the crash and where all of the funds went that was supposed to go into buying back and restoring the peg. And it really did lead me to a situation where I really have a lot of data readily available that I can just go in and touch base on at any time. So seeing these 1,075 Bitcoins move is definitely something that we want to pay attention to, specifically with what's actually going on with the court case, with everything that he's got underway in Montenegro. There's going to be litigation fees that need to be paid. So like I said, we'll be going over everything in this video. When Luna crashed, the BTC reserves were deployed and we saw them move off to around 15 different exchanges. Although a lot of this BTC was used to defend the peg, not all of it was. And this is why we're seeing DK being able to move such a substantial amount of BTC. Something that we need to take into account is that Do Kwon has a bug out pack on him. This means that he has everything that he needed at that time to run away to Dubai. And Montenegro was the gateway. Part of the bug out pack that Do Kwon has with him would likely have seed phrases in on top of having the Trezor that's been reported in many different news articles. So let's go ahead and go over and look at the actual transaction that everybody's speaking about at the moment. And it was broadcasted on the 2nd of September 2024 at around 1:30 a.m. in the morning here for me in the UK. And we saw around 1,075 BTC move, and this was around $62 million. We can see that it's been sent from this wallet here over to this brand new wallet highlighted just here for you. Let's go ahead and follow that transaction over to its new address and take a little peek before we go ahead and start to dissect why this could be possibly happening. So we can see this wallet is brand spanking new. It has one transaction and that is it. This may seem like it's not providing us with any answers, but if we actually take a deeper look, we could probably start to find and narrow down exactly why he's moved 1,075 BTC. So firstly, let's go ahead and check on the LFG reserves and let's see if anything's moved from there. No. Okay, so we can rule the LFG reserves out. Okay, so next thing we need to do is actually go and look at what's going on in Montenegro. What is currently happening is Do Kwon's lawyer requesting $500,000 in claims from the Luna estate due to his representations of Do Kwon. So it could be something that is related to that. And although it's a rather large transaction in comparison to $500,000, anything that Do Kwon does outside of the agreed court proceedings would be deemed as illicit. And considering he's in Montenegro where jurisdiction can't really reach him, he would probably want to just do it in one big transaction and get it over and done with. Considering the amount of heat that's already been brought up off of this one transaction, imagine what would happen if he made 10 of those, 15 of those. It's good we've seen just this one transaction and that it's outside of those LFG reserve assets. I personally don't think it's connected to this, and I really don't think it's a negative situation that's playing out. In fact, I believe it's the SEC taking custodial ownership of those assets, because if we actually go in and we dive into that final judgment, we can see that throughout that proposal, the judgment provides that Kwon's payment of monetary remedies shall be deemed satisfied provided that all transfers by Kwon to the SEC and the Terraform bankruptcy estate total no less than $204 million, and Kwon has consented under the proposed judgment to make an initial $4.7 million transfer to an escrow account within 30 days of the entry judgment and to transfer $2.3 million in assets from his Swiss bank account to an escrow account within the same time period. To ensure the maximum recovery for harmed investors, Kwon has also agreed to transfer to the Terraform bankruptcy estate within 30 days all crypto assets of LFG and his ownership interest in all Pyth crypto asset tokens that Kwon obtained pursuant to a 2021 token grant agreement. So what this really signals to me is Do Kwon is complying with this final judgment, and we're probably going to see the LFG assets move into new wallets, and we're possibly going to see more of these BTC reserves moved off of those 15 exchanges into these new wallets. And the reason why I believe this is happening is because of the amount of compliance that the TFL team has actually gone throughout this whole situation, and they've more or less just played ball. And Do Kwon suddenly deciding to himself at the end, when they're about to tie it all up in a pretty little bow, that he's just going to ruin it all and start to try and take money and maybe go on the run again when he's actually on house arrest in Montenegro. This to me seems like he's just complying with what has been put forward by the courts in the United States, specifically being Delaware. So we are likely going to see the transfer of even more of these assets. And when we look at those numbers given, we've already seen around $64 million worth of those assets move in BTC. Of course, I could be completely wrong here, and this could be some kind of illicit attempt to get some of these BTC out before the SEC does actually get their paws on them. So when we go and we look at what TFL is currently been putting out in regards of announcements, we look at what's going down on September 19th, which is the confirmation hearing. This is really important in reference to what we've been going through and what we just showed you previously with those court documents, because this fits into the timeline. What we now need to do is flick back to that court document and have a read of something just above what we've already gone through, where they state if all Terraform assets are distributed pursuant to such a plan, the SEC's monetary remedies will be deemed satisfied. Finally, if no such plan is in effect by October 31st, 2024, the SEC is entitled to enforce the judgment against Terraform. And they don't want this. What they need to do is fully comply with everything that is being put forward, and that is what we're seeing. So this does, once again, it all fits together and tells me that Do Kwon is simply just complying with what's going on in the United States as he back and forths with Chris Amani to get this thing all tied up, get it shut down, get everything moved into the bankruptcy estate, and then start to see that BTC hopefully go back to crypto investors and then eventually be reinvested into the market, because we know that's what's going to happen. And this is probably going to be more bullish for the overall crypto market than people think. So I hope by showing you this in this constructed timeline, it really gives you a better understanding as to why the coins have moved, and that you don't need to panic over such things going down. We knew this was going to happen. We know that the September 19th hearing is very important, and this is all to get everything ready for what the SEC has proposed as a final date for the TFL and Do Kwon to more or less comply completely and send everything over. So like I said, we're probably going to see a lot more assets moved. Aside that, that's all we've really got for you guys for now. If you like the content here, if you get useful information, don't forget to smash the like button on the way out. Subscribe if you haven't already, hit the notifications bell, and just stay safe. And aside that, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.